we should be ready now. There we go. Hi, everybody. We should be now. If you're in Discord, you should be able to go to that live link now, I think, and I think that will bring you to the page there. There we go. Right on Dex Effects. Like cooking with gas. I do apologize that we got a little mixed up there. Nice. Everybody's there. Good, 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 good. Good to hear. All right. If you're in that system in there, I kind of want to see what everybody. If I do it in this fashion, so that I'll pull up this to see if that goes in. Okay, there we go. If somebody could go into the actual chat on Facebook there and just do a hello, or just to see how well that works for me here.
Hey, Max.
Yeah.
It's Chris.
Yeah,
The screen I got said you've popped the stream out to another window. Don't know, my computer prowess or lack thereof, but I can't.
Are you watching the stream in Discord?
Yes.
Okay.
Do I click a? I'm assuming it's probably just a button.
Yeah.
Is that a click on?
So
left click.
It should be. Yeah. Did you read that? I'm not sure. Inside Discord, it should be back. You should be able to click on the line again. If it did say, you just go back and do, leave the stream and then go back and watch the stream again.
Oh, there we go.
Okay, so now I'm trying to find our. Okay. Watch live.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me, Max?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
Jory says I'm in. Good job. Working. Good to go. Thank you very much. So I'm trying now to find out where it's. All right, there we go. Doesn't show up in here. Streaming dashboard. All right. All right, for me to get components there. All right. Now. All right, so if you're watching the stream now, I'm trying to think on, because there's some alerts and stuff that I wanted to be able to do to test out. I need your guys' help to test those out. If you're on the Facebook Live page, if you see where it says get all live notifications, could you click if somebody could click on that? I just want to see if I get a notification that you clicked on it. And also, There's a little bell up by where it says DexFX is live. There's a bell there. You can hit follow. I'm not sure if I can't follow it, but if somebody else could follow it just to kind of see.
Max, I have done that. I've got both open at the moment, so I'm getting a lot of feedback. But yes, I've clicked on to follow when you next go live on Facebook.
Okay. Then I don't have alerts set up just yet. It's all good. Okay, so now I'm trying to find our, okay, there it is. Watch live.
Can you hear?
All right, there we go. All right, well, that should do it for now. We will definitely have all these bugs worked out in the process here shortly. So if you're in Discord, we got to kind of figure out, I think I may just send everybody over to the trading view or the Dexa Markets live area instead of through here, instead of through Discord. I will be asking some of you periodically through the week to join me to discuss trades and other things you're doing, your trading style. Every single person that I've met so far, to get back into the swing of things here, every single person that I've met so far that has been learning how to trade from us and learning how to trade with this strategy, they all have their own way of doing it. And I'm not talking like wildly different, right? Because somebody adds too many things in, you're going to get confused. There's going to be analysis paralysis kind of thing. And they're little subtle differences, which is very important because in learning how to trade this system, folks, you know, of all the people that are in the network right now that are watching, that are in Discord and what have you, there's always going to be these little nuances. Why did this person go to 1722 and this person did 1718, or this person came into 1734 or what have you? As long as you're not wildly breaking the rule, little variances are fine. Okay. How do you learn those variances? Where do you learn, like, where's the medium side out of things? It becomes more about how do you address your level of creativity, your level of vision, you know, keeping in mind that support and resistance areas are more about zones than they are a particular line in the sand. And that's where your trading is as well. In the very beginning part, Chris, I know that you have a viewpoint. I've seen it in chat a few times about demoing. You know, like you have a viewpoint. I thought I saw something to the fact that, you know, oh, I don't demo because it creates bad habits for me. What is your feeling upon that, about demoing?
Well, when you're first starting,
Yeah.
You want to demo. That's what I did with the Dex Atomic.
Mm-hmm.
Then because I've been with you for, I think it's going on 4 years now.
Yeah.
Since I was familiar with everything,
Mm-hmm.
I was only in demo just for a couple of days, you know. And I said, "Oh, okay, I got this. I see what's going on, the high and the low and the median."
Right.
Then I went right into live, because when you have money on the line, you tend to concentrate more. At least I do. I'm sure
Right.
most people do.
And that's good.
So that's why.
Okay.
I was in there, you know, before I had the nuclear gig and making money in there, and then came back and got right into live again and relatively successful. And I just use the Dex Atomic too.
Okay. So you're using just the Dex Atomic. You're not even using the Dex Atomic X yet.
Haven't even opened it up yet.
Here's the thing, right? In Discord we had this. We have a room in there, and it's called the Den, and the Den is the Dex exclusive network. And in there is we're training people, and this is all going to come back relative to, you know, if you're learning how to trade, you're learning this process. The first thing you just have to learn how to practice, right? And practicing is something that people either they love or they absolutely hate. I do find people like in between, like Chris every once in a while will be like, yeah, but it'll give me bad habits. Just let me go straight live because I know where I'm at. Because his muscle memory is like he only needs 3 or 4 swings with the bat in a warm-up box. Right? You only need a warm-up box. You don't need to go to a training camp to like if you begin it and you get it and you're like doing well and then you take a little hiatus and then you come back, you don't need to go restart all over again. I need to do 150 trades and get back to doing live. No, you just need a little warm up, and that's where Chris is at. This is where that little bit of tweaking comes in, right? Depending on who does what. So if you see a comment like that from his perspective, that's his perspective. Okay, it doesn't mean that it's yours. So don't hone in on that. Well, I better just go trade live, because in the very beginning, and I'll set this all out for all of you. In the beginning, you don't care what your success rate is. I'm going to say that again. You do not care what your success rate is. The only thing you care in that first 2 to 3 to 4 weeks is, can I see the strategy, see the arrow, pick the level, go over to nadex, pick the statement price that I want to utilize in the right direction at the right time in the right process, and put the working order on. Did I do all those right? Did I get my right profit margin? Did I get my right level? Did I get the right asset? Did I get the right day? That's what you have to focus on. Once you focus on that patience and the discipline to wait for the right signal, to get onto the right thing and do it, then you get the idea that that's the consistency of the strategy. Now, what pairs to use, when to use them, all of that stuff, that's learned in that first 2 weeks. And that's the only thing that if you're just starting out that I want you to focus on. You don't care, oh yeah, I got that level and it won, or I got that level and it lost. Every single trade that you do, whether if you filled the working order, there's 3 versions of it, right? You put a working order on, right? 2, the working order got picked up, almost flipped you all off. 2, you picked up, the working order got picked up. Or 3, the working order did not get picked up. And then I guess there's a 4th, did it win or lose, right? So if you put the working order and didn't get picked up, you're going to look at that trade. Was it the right level? Did I get the right level? Did I do medium? Oh, I did medium. Oh, that was the right level, so it just didn't get filled. So you justify it by that version. Did I do it right? Right? Now right is not really perspective. It's exact. It's did I when I said on my screen here, as you see on my screen, and this is 71.41, and I go over to nadex and there's a 71.40. Did I get the right level? That's what you have to look at. I didn't go to 71.42 or 71.45. I got 71.40. And if I put that in, then, and the working order didn't get filled, I didn't do anything wrong. Now, if I went in and I put it at 21 or 71.35, but there was a 71.40, then I did something wrong. Okay? Same things are true that if it gets filled, did you go with the right direction? Did you go into the trade? The mistakes you can make, did you go into the trade? Did you go too far? Did you go add the money? Are you trying to hustle it in? Those are the things that you have to avoid. So when you go back and you see whether you won or you lost, because I've seen lots of people do this. Hey, I made a mistake. Luckily I won. No, not luckily you won. In fact, unluckily you won, because it taught you a bad habit. First 2 weeks, spend doing nothing but making sure that you do your strategy within this little network, whether or not you're using sells or buys or what have you, and you focus nothing but that. Getting in and getting out. My suggestion, as you all are starting out, is that you do start with just the DEX Atomic to get a feeling of the market and the value of level. If you want to challenge, if you're here and you've only known the DEX FX X or DEX Atomic X, then you've missed out on some support and resistance training that's very, very powerful. Then once you get, if you go into how to use your gain box, okay, you'll learn how to use the gain box. 11.55, so that's 12. Oh, you'll learn how to use that gain box real quickly. You'll immediately see the mean and the low and the high. Okay. So these are very important for once you begin your training. When the signal happened, where was the gain box at? Where did I start at with that signal? How to validate? Do I go with ones that are above or below? On the DEX Atomic, you can look at ones which we already validated out, right? So it was at 8 o'clock, so 4. we already took, oops, sorry. We already took those off, right? So this cell, well, let me pull this over. This cell that's above the moving average would be a non-validated signal on the Dexatomic X. But here you could practice to say, hey, does this work? And how would you practice this without cheating yourself? Oh yeah, this one worked. Oh yeah, that one worked. This one worked. You could use the replay button to do that, and we've shown that before. Okay, so this is a pretty important part of the process here, that if you begin to use the tools at the basic levels, like learning how to use a hammer, this is the hammer. This is you picking up a hammer, holding the nail, learning how to hold the nail and not hit your fingers. That's all you're doing in that first 2 weeks.
Hey, Max.
Yeah.
I think if you take using a sports analogy for spring training for baseball,
Right.
You've got the rookies that come in.
Mm-hmm.
They're trying to make the roster, right?
Right.
They have to take it a lot more, seriously, if you will. Just trying to make the team. So when you approach demo, be as serious as you can, and get in the game. And you want to be on the roster. You want to make the team, so to speak. And that'll help you move along a little bit quicker as far as demoing is concerned. Just a thought.
Absolutely. In this example here for using the gain box on the Dexatomic system, remember that wherever the price shows up, when you draw the gain box out, when you draw this hilt box out, here's where the price started right here at $16.99. I'm going to omit the 1 point. It's okay. So $16.99 is where it started at, right? That started in this zone. Remember that the high risk is the first deviation line right there, 0.75. The low risk would be the 0.1. Now, if the arrow starts, if the price starts in this box, there is no other one, right? But actually there is. Whatever the deviation is from here to here, that's 1713 to 1705. So that's what, 8 pips? You would simply go up 8 pips. You got me? So let's look at that. 1715 up 8 pips to 23. Oh, look at that. Really super close to that line right there. But you can kind of see over here where it ends up coming out pretty good, but we wouldn't know that here. But you can see where the price is valued at now. So if you were into this deviation, this number 1 to 75, you would use whatever the distance is from here to here up here. Okay? That's if you're doing it in this fashion. I'm not advocating that. I'm not advocating using the gain on the Dexatomic X or Exatomic in this fashion. But if you're doing manual trading and you wanted to see the validation of these other boxes, of these other systems here, okay? What time is that? That's 12, so back to 8. I'm going to pull right there. Because remember, in these really skinny times, the market gets real 50-50, right? So that's 1654 to 1651. That's only 3 pips difference. So there's not a lot of room in there for error, right? And you'll see that this ends up being why we don't use the arrows above. This is only 1, right? If we try to move it back to here again, bring it down to there, you can easily begin to see, why don't we validate the ones that are cells above? Okay. And there it is as well. Now, if you were doing, since the price is here, this would have been high risk, which would have won, low risk would have been up here. So it's 1651 to 1648. There's only 3 pips, so we would come up 3 pips from here, which would be 1651, 1654. Would have touched it right in here and came in. So it does work. You can use the gain, you can use that gain box there as well. I'm going to do one more test here. So the power of automation too is something we're going to talk about here in a second as well. So that's 17. So 17 to 1300, right? LAR. Is a big one. Once again, the price started right here. So what would you do in something to this effect? If that was the highest, if that's the highest where the price has been at the bar of the signal, what would you do then? Well, you could do one thing. You could click on to the box, hit Control C and then Control V, and that'll give you another exact duplicate of the box. And you could do something like that. So now if this is low, then this would be, if this is high, or you could treat this as high or whatever, right? Then this would be low risk, right? High risk and low risk. But does it win it? Low risk. Yes, it does. So you see that there's more value. It's using the same tools, okay? Because what's the difference between that and the other is that we've already pre-validated the pairs with the arrows that they're up here. We don't validate them down here. Why? Because we can't take every single one. Maybe I'll put that into, remove that 50 MA, and we just put the box validation on. Maybe that'll be another dex atomic X variable that will be placed in. But the big thing is right now is to test, and work yourself into the model, learning what the different levels are. At this time, does anybody have any questions? You can put them either in Discord or you can put them in the chat on Facebook. It's completely up to you. I'll try to keep an eye out for both.
Hey, Max.
Yeah, but
Yeah, just it's you have the hilt, and as I was mentioning, I just use the Dex Atomic. There's a certain it's also somewhat of an art form too. You can get over technical and just take a look at numbers. But there's a certain thing you take a look at the trend and various other things. What? So I just wanted to point that out, that you use the technology to your advantage, so that you understand how the numbers are working, how the markets work. But some of it's a little bit of an art form that you only get by trading. There's no way to read a book about it. So I just wanted to point that out.
Well, can you read about the stiffness of a bat? How to or how well where to swing and how to adjust your body. You can read about all the technical points, but what you can't do is read how well does that bat fit in your hands and how to swing it at a particular armature to hit the ball. Like your coordination, the creative stuff, your physical ability and talent is also about your mental ability and talent. Of to be able to add creativity to it just means being able to see past than just, oh, that's a lot of bars. And if you can't see past that and see the technical versions of what a trend is, right? And the simple value of what a trend is that it has high, for a uptrend to happen, it has to have an inclination, right? It has to be inclining. So you'll be at higher highs, peaks, right? Because nothing is ever just one way all the time, right? You get these peaks, and if those highs, and then it pulled back a little bit, and the lows of those peaks are always on the incline, then that's an uptrend until it's not. And then if it breaks one of those peaks, like this is a little bit of a channel here, you have to begin to recognize what's what. The best thing for most of you to do is to, if you have a hard time seeing what trend is, you can pull back and see ultimately what trend is. But 5 minute on a 5 minute chart is very difficult, right? You have these dynamic micro trends, if you will, right? But they're usually not super overbearing, right? You don't get something that goes on for days on a 5 minute chart. Because if you pull back, you'll see that overall, where's this market going? It's been going down for some time, right? But during, and again, overall, the peaks are lower each time. Okay, so you can begin to see that even though that this peak really wasn't a peak, it was just sort of a slow, it wasn't really lower than this one. But it was lower than all of these over here. The highs were lower each time, right? This one kind of broke this one here. But again, it's not, well, it's broken out because it broke right there. You have to see consistency in that break, right? And as it begins to unfold, boom, 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 where does it begin to reverse at now? Is that when you get the consistency value that, all right, if this peaks, if this comes back down and goes back up and goes higher again, we have now committed to an uptrend. The commitment, you don't know the commitment just because it went higher here. We don't know that commitment. Maybe by the time it pierced this level, the commitment has been conceived, right? But we also know that the market, if we even pull back even, pull back even further, is that these peaks broke here, right? But then, but didn't break the main one. So again, your creativity depends upon how much work you put into it. You may not have to look back that far. But because if you're looking back this far, does over here, because of the downtrend, validate that signal? And the answer is no. It doesn't validate that signal. But what you can do is use that to say, all right, well, I know that it's continuing to go down, I will use statements that are closer, maybe a little higher risk, because on a sell arrow, I'll use a higher risk, and on a sell or on a buy signal, I'll use low risk. Right? Because you don't want to take a chance that it's going to drop past since it's already in a down. But as it begins to crest and begins to unfold, like in these areas, now you can get back into using high risk because it's on an incline. And you would use low risk on the sells. Make sense? Just like we did there. You could use low risk or high risk. You would have gotten, I don't know if you would have gotten filled on both. I think you would have gotten filled on this one, 1714 to 1713. Yeah, you would have gotten filled on that. And picked up and bought. You see? So you can use that as a variant. But for all you guys out there that are like, oh man, that's another way I could do stuff. If you got something that's working, and David Menny can probably attribute to this, is why try to fix anything else in there? If it's already working for you, then why bother trying to figure something out? We had, and the person's in the room, so I don't want to mention names, but this person's like, Max, I only won 4 trades today. This was not today. This was several days or several weeks ago. And I said, okay, well, I need much more. So again, immediately everybody's going to say CVG, right? And I asked him, why do you need more trades? He goes, well, $45 times 4, I need this amount of money per month. And if I work 5 days a week and I do this, he was already spending the money that he hadn't won yet. First off, I said, okay. He goes, so I see that there's another way to do it. Can I do it that way and add more trades? But why would you? Why wouldn't you just, again, CVG, why wouldn't you just add more volume to the process? And that's a very hard mentality to get. And again, David Menning and Ron and other people that have, there's like Randall Barnes, just other people that are using the programs that are out there. And they're like, look, at the simplest level of manual, the system works very well. You just got to get out of your own way. Okay. So I want to put a vote in the room so far. What do you think is more profitable? Automatic trading, semi-automatic trading, or manual trading. Vote, and I don't know if I can do a poll in here. I'll do it in the Den Trader, or even in your comments. You can put it into Facebook. Let me know what you think is more profitable: manual trading, semi-auto, or fully auto trading. Which one do you think is the most profitable? Chris, what do you think? Your viewpoint. What do you think is the most profitable one that's in there? Auto or manual or semi?
I've always found the manual to
Manual.
be, and even when we had the ZDAN and it was, you know, you
Right.
hook it up, I was just able to get into a lot more trades and do a whole lot better.
So
with that.
you got one vote for manual. Okay. Thor, what about you? What you say
I,
semi?
I I would go with semi. Yeah, I just pop that in there. It cleans up my charts for me and
Right.
makes it clearer. Um, may or may not take the trade, but I like the way it looks on my screen. I like it, the signal that it gives me, and it just cleans it up for me.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Quick Hitter says semi-auto trading for me. I like the look and feel of it. Absolutely. Okay. So we got one manual, one semi, two semis in there so far. Come on, everybody, keep going. Semi-auto for Timothy Turner. He says semi-auto. Okay. Drew says semi. Haven't done auto yet. Well, none of you have. Well, some of you have with the old Xenon system. Cool. I could probably say that like Randall Barnes and David and other people will probably have between manual and semi possibility. Let me check Facebook to see if there's any chats in there on it. David Manning says manual. That's what I thought. I was going to peg that for you. So David Manning says manual. I'm going to tell you for me, it's manual as well. So I'm going to put my vote in as manual. But you guys are not going to like what I'm about to tell you. Well, you might. I was once, I'm going to give you a little anecdote first. There is a place in Colorado that my family had rights to, mineral rights to. And excuse me for 1 second. I'm going to sneeze my face off. All right. So we had mineral rights and mining rights to this piece of property. Whew. I'm still going to sneeze sometime. Excuse me. All right. So we had mineral rights to this property. It's like as soon as I start talking about gold, I'm going to start sneezing. It's like, what am I, like allergic to Midas? All right. So the old guy that owned the property originally said there's gold all over the place. I was like, oh, great. Where do you find it? He goes, you find gold where it's at. And I went, what? And he goes, yeah, that's the old proverb. You find gold where it's at. I'm like, okay. He goes, because it's everywhere. I was like, all right. I said, would it be by that tree? He goes, could be. And what I began to realize is that statement was very prophetic, of course, because there was a lot of people who were like, what's the secret to gold mining and all that kind of stuff? What's your secret? And they'd see somebody coming over with a pan of gold and be like, how'd you get all that gold? Well, I went over there and then they'd run over there and they'd dig and nothing would be there. They didn't dig their own hole. They didn't put their work in on their own stuff. Yeah, they could probably find some flakes and stuff like that. But so the real power of what works for you, what is the most profitable, is the one that you do. And I'm not talking just like, oh, well, let me go look at the trading charts and see, oh, yeah, that's a trade that somebody else takes all the time. Let me take that one. No. This is you putting in 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 100 trades, really getting the feel. Oh, I hate the USD JPY. I like the AUD USD. It does me well. Or I'll trade this particular time at this time. When you set your time down and you set your process ready, that's what works. Now, keep in mind that every single one has a variance of experience that you have to have. If you're trading manual and you're trading on the either side of that MA, okay, you're doing an all-in method, you're trading some above, you're trading some below, whatever. You have to have the experience to know what the levels are, support and resistance, how they work, what they look at, looking left. There's some things, there's some nuances like David could tell you and other people could tell you that you have to be able to look left. This was the original system that started it all with the Dexatomic, right? In a Dexatomic trading view. Before this, there was just a plain chart on the site. I mean, the baby of it was the Dexatomic on DexFX markets. So you have to be able to isolate that time and look at those processes to say what works for you, what doesn't. So there's more work to do there. Now, semi-auto pulls a lot of that work out for you, right? Semi-auto punches you a little bit and says, okay, you don't need this particular trade, or you don't need this one, or you don't need that one. I missed the top of the hour. Let me jump down here and I'll finish out this thought here in a second. Euro USD, Great Britain pound, no trade. Euro JPY, none. Great Britain. Okay, here we go. Great Britain pound or Euro JPY. What would I do here? Now, this is a channel environment here that's happening right now because it's either going to plateau and go up or plateau and reverse at this point. I think we're setting up for a reverse. If you're unsure ever at this point, the best is to do low risk. Now, we do have some good low risk indicators here at this level. You can kind of see here, 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 a little bit of top, a little bit of top. Likes the level right there and then gets rejected. And now what's this turning into? That turns into what? That's right, resistance. So turned into support, bounced off for a second, stopped at that point. You see where it closed out right there, and then goes on down. It's back underneath the MA, so that's a pretty good level to have. If you went high, you would be here, I think, right? Yes, this would be the high risk side. Now, if you are a little bit more venturous, you could take the high risk there. But again, $45 profit margin, you kind of look. So if you're at that level, you should almost probably be at that level to get into a trade at that. You're about 1 pip off if there's any money on it there. But I would be a little suspect since this is channeling out and it could vibrate off of this level for at least another hour. So you'd be playing a 50-50 opportunity there. Here, you're going to be about 30-70. So $45 with a 70% chance to win. Okay? The other is that if you drag down in the middle, you're really not saving too much. So 61. So 63 down to 57. It's only about 6 pips, so about 3 pips to there at 122.61. The others I'm not going to do a read on. I'm just going to go down and see what's flighting. If anything's flighting, nothing's flighting else. So the Euro JPY is the only one during the hour. So this is where I would call. So this is the other thing too, is that if you get into start practicing and you're doing semi-auto or auto or what have you, leave your lines. Okay? Make your assumptions, make your draws, do your thing, leave your lines. Go back and use your replay options. Leave your lines there. You know, leave yourself a nice thick green or yellow or purple or whatever line you're going to use, and show, hey, this is where I would have win. And if you got within that 1 pip or even touched the line, then you're golden. Okay? Now, back to the process of manual and knowing that it's all the same, depending on who you are. Learning how to trade manual, you're going to have to do more. You're going to have to get more creative with it. Doing semi-auto, you're going to have to be very clean, right? You're going to have to make some decisions. Semi-auto gives you the process, but there's 2 parts of semi-auto. There's also an alert system. And that alert system is the next level, semi-auto 0.2, okay? 2.0, if you will. Sending yourself an email when the trades that you are using set up. But how do you know which ones you're going to do? You're just going to send yourself 11 emails an hour or 20 emails an hour, it could be. Because remember, each one of these pairs has 2. He has a sell and a buy that you're going to do. You have to find out what works for you. So there's still, guess what, folks? Work to do. That even though that semi-auto is there, you still got to put that work in to find out which ones work well for you or not. Now, before we jump into strategy testers and all that other kind of stuff, there's some of you that have access to that. You know, if you look at David, I think David Menning shared his thing out there with everybody. I'm not sure. But man, it's got a lot of information in it. You could set your watch by a lot of those trades that are in there, anything above 60-70%, and say, okay, look, these are the ones that I want to go with. I'm only going to do the Audi USD between 6 and 8 on a sell. and the auto USD between 10 and 4 o'clock on a buy. You know, it could be whatever it is. You see, you can get very systematic with that process. But what you're going to need is a little bit more money to pay for a premium account over in TradingView. You're not going to be able to do it on a free account, of course. So you have to pay a little bit more money there. But it still takes time. Okay? Now, fully auto. Fully auto is going to give you a process to be able to walk away while your system makes the trades for you. But how do you get to the point of knowing which ones to do and which ones not to do? You don't. Everybody should start manual, learn how to trade it, get to semi-auto, and then graduate to fully auto when the time comes. There's going to be some of you that are going to be like, no, Max, I don't want nothing to do with that, right? And that's what you have to ask yourself. Are you a fully just straight manual guy? Are you semi-auto, or are you fully auto? That's what you got to have. Now, before you answer that, you know, would fully auto work well for you? You have to ask yourself, are you disciplined to maintain it, to engage with it? If you're like, Max, I just need him because I got to work 5,000 hours a week and I just want something to trade money for me and I don't care, you know, whatever. It's not going to work for you. I can tell you that right now. A lot of people who ask for this thing, they think that it's the cure-all to end-all. And it's not. It takes work and time and patience and watching it and all that kind of stuff. If you don't, you're going to fail. I had a gentleman ask me once a very sincere question, which I knew it was sincere because he was very upset. He says, Max, if you know that manual takes a lot of work, then or that automatic will not work unless you work it, why put it out as automatic? I was like, well, because you need to read the instructions on a nail gun, right? Before you use it sometimes, unless you already have the experience. If you don't know that a nail gun can shoot a nail at 150 miles an hour into your foot, then you shouldn't be using a nail gun, right? If you don't know the safety terms or how to load it and unload it and clean it and do all that stuff, it's the same thing with a gun or any dangerous implement, a butter knife, okay? But the concepts are still the same. You got to take the time to learn how to use it. If you're not prepared to do that, then you might as well just keep going. Go become a gambler. In fact, go become a nuke guy and then go become a gambler. That way you got some money.
Nice one, Max.
Yeah.
It's very upsetting to me that nuke guys also like to gamble.
I know, right?
It's like, what do you think we can get the temperature of this reactor up to? Yeah, I'll bet on 5,000 degrees.
I bet you we're going to destroy the Earth in 8 minutes. There's no real wind there. I don't know what's happening. All right. So, Thor, you've come from a long background of like micro trading and stuff, you know, like trading the 20-minute trades and stuff like that. In your world of scalping, what's your input on scalping? We want to talk about that here before we close the stream out for the day.
Well, first of all, I don't.
You don't
I
scalp
almost
at all.
always no. I almost always let the trade run.
Mhm.
I've been burned too many times trying to outthink it.
Sure.
If you're going to scalp, you have to be able to scalp both your winning and losing.
Good.
You
I'm glad to hear
can't
that.
just scalp winners and let losers run.
Yeah.
You have to know how to get out as well as on the losing side as well as on the winning side.
Absolutely. So do you feel that, and how do you get that experience of knowing what is winning or what's losing?
Basically, you almost have to be a chart watcher. I mean, you have to watch the chart every second. You can hardly OP. Because, oops, I missed it because it's these short time frames, even a 1 hour time frame. When it moves very fast, and all of a sudden, the loss that you were taking, a $15 loss, turns into a $70 loss or something. Very quickly. Can do that in 1 or 2 minutes.
Not even seconds.
So you need to be right on top of it constantly.
For the most part, a lot of people have a misconception of, if I just had a stop loss, or this isn't Forex, right? and again, learning how to scalp at a level to say, okay, that you're comfortable with the ratio of loss, right? So if I have a 70% success rate and I'm trading 45.55 and I scalp out every time my money hits $22, yes, there's going to be times that those trades that would have lost you 55 would have you saved $30, right? But that's going to be far few between. It's only 30% of the time, right? Or the other time you're doing $22, you're like scalping out at half or what have you, whatever number you come up with. You're going to lose out a lot more. 70% of the trades that you're going to be doing are going to be cut in half. You see? So
Right.
does 30% half of 55 equate more than 50% of that 70% of trades that you would win? You see what I'm saying with this? So I mean, if we calculate it out, here's where I don't think you can see my calculator. I don't know.
You can.
You can?
I can.
Okay. Oh, you can because you're in. I'm sharing the screen. All right. So let's say we have 100 trades, okay, and we win 70% of it. So we win in 70 trades, and we times that by 45, right? That's $3,150. But now we only take, half of that, right? So we divide that by 2. So that's $1,575 won. Okay. Now let's say we were able to miraculously scalp at half of our losses, right? But we lost 30. So remember 1575. So that's 30 times 55. Okay. Immediately, there's 1685, right? So if I could divide that by 2, now that's 825. Okay. So if I were to take the 1575, right, plus 825. Did I do that right? 24. Okay. 70 times 55 equals 3,800, right? And 30 times 55. All right. So there's a difference of about $500 there. Okay. So but again, you got to be like on your game. You got to be sitting at your computer watching every tick of that process. So now you got to also equate in there, is that enough time for you to pay for yourself to do all that, right? Compared to sitting down for a couple of weeks, getting all your trades on, learning how to do it. And then once you start trading, how much time are you actually sitting down watching the trade? Like I'm pretty sure that David and others that have really perfected it only sit down for a few minutes, do the market, and probably get up and go do something else. They're only going after 3 or 4 pairs. Or they may have an email sent over to them that says, hey, this one's on, go check it out, or what have you. For me personally, I'm using 4 pairs. I'm using the AUD USD, the Euro USD, the Great Britain Pound, and the Euro JPY. And I use those trades to send me an email on a particular couple of them. I don't use any of the other minor pairs. You have the major pairs and master pairs and slave pairs, whatever. Okay. So I have emails sent to me for that. Now that's off my personal side, not my strategy, not the strategy tester or anything else yet, because I'm still using that process. So I only trade about 3 or 4 times, maybe 5 times a week. And you're probably like, Max, that's crazy. I mean, seriously, I'm only trading 5, maybe 4 or 5 times a week at the most. And I'm still making the same amount, $6,000 to $8,000. Why is that? Because CVG, baby. That's what it comes down to. But I had to put a lot of work in to get to this point. The problem with most of the traders that we bring on is that they can't see that far into the future. There's some of you that are still kind of keeping everything dialed down because you need to have all the answers in first before you put the time in. There's some of you that are still trying to fit in. How can this one trade save my life? It can't. This is not about one trade. Later on, 50 trades can save you, but that's over a month, maybe even more. I'm not sure how many trades. I don't want to show it on the screen here yet. I still got to get a lot of screen share stuff up and other things on so I can start showing people stuff through the stream. I still have to find out a lot about the law too on our side, on showing nadex and all that kind of good stuff on Facebook and all that stuff, because I don't want Facebook coming after me as well. So I'm just showing you theoretical process. All results may vary. There's a disclaimer. Thank you very much.
Those Facebook cops play hardball.
They do, and especially when it comes to trading. And so I have some emails out. I have a lawyer on board. He's, whatever. we all know how I feel about lawyers. If you're a lawyer, I'm sorry. I feel sorry for you. I apologize, but I apologize to you only because you made a decision. Sorry, but for most of you that are watching this right now, you're watching this after the fact. I can't thank you enough for being here and helping me test this out today. Does anybody else have anything they have to ask, or if anybody wants to make any statements at this point? Y'all kind of got it. All right. So this video was sort of governed today. We dialed it in only to be on this channel. We didn't post it out to anybody else. In future, I'm going to be posting to many of our pages. We have 232 Facebook pages. That's right. I know that's a lot, but we also own a radio network and a distribution network and all these other things. You're going to see a lot of people coming in. With that, you're going to get the trolls. You're going to get the people who are like, oh, you're a scammer, blah, blah, whatever. Okay? You're going to see people in talking. The only thing that I ask is that you're respectful to everybody that comes in, whether they are or not. Keep me apprised if people come in and they're being too dorkish or too weird. Okay? Unless it's you. So. Or Thor or myself or Paul or Chris, which will probably get flagged every day. But you're going to see a lot more happening over the next several days and into this week, because we really need to start pumping up now. The ZDON system is in its last stages on one of them. The other ones, we're still kind of hoping that it's still looking for the middle of the month. We're still hoping on. I'm getting a little bit of conflicting information, so I'm trying to adjust the process of what's going to happen. But remember, it doesn't matter if you're fully automated at this point. When it comes out, you're going to get it. If you paid for it, if you got the founder's position, you got one of those, you paid for a ZDON and all that stuff, then you can get it. Okay? I promise you. Anybody else? Chris, Paul, Thor, anybody? Anything? Before we head out.
No, I'm good, Max.
All right.
If I did get a couple of wins this morning, even though
Cool.
most people aren't trading.
Yeah.
If anybody wants to go back and look, it was on the CHF USD with the expiry of 10, 1000, and then the USD JPY at 1100. I got a win on those.
You did the buy on the USD CHF?
I knew you'd ask me that. I think so.
All right.
Whatever the signal was, yes, I did.
All right. Too funny.
My memory doesn't
one.
go back that far.
Yeah. That's cool. Now remember that Chris uses his own variant level, so he doesn't go off of what the Dex Atomic X would happen to say. But if he had, he would have probably lost them both, either at a low or a high at that point. So if he came back to where I would have come back, which would have been right about here at that level, looking at it being against the trend, being below, this is where I would have came in at 91.44, and he would have easily won at that point. Even if it was for a point that if that one wasn't available, he had to come lower down to the trade. Yeah, he would have easily won at that point.
I think I came in at the 91.44, maybe even the 40. I can't remember.
And just so we get this question a lot, the location of the arrow in that trade doesn't mean anything.
No,
It's the
it's
close of the previous candle and the open of the current candle that counts,
right.
as far as being above or below the trend line.
Yeah,
So, that's that graphic is just put there so many inches or so many ticks or whatever below the candle,
right.
so you can read it. But it could be anywhere.
Yeah, but he's also utilizing this. Uh,
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
using
I'm just
this.
saying. Right,
Right.
right. I'm just saying. I've had people ask me, about,
Yeah,
oh,
why
the
did this one show up? Because
arrow
the
is
arrow is
above or
below.
below
Yeah,
or whatever.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. That's a
it's not
good.
the
That's
arrow.
a good point to have. See, because it's the open of the arrow bar. So wherever it opens at, and the cell bar opens all the way up here, which was above. Okay, so that's a good validational point there. Okay, this wasn't against the grain. This is actually in there. So, all right. Well, Thor, Paul, Chris, thank you
Nice
very
to be
much.
here again.
And I want to thank everybody for being here. We got this. We're only in this about live for an hour today, but the streams will probably be me and anybody who wants to join at that point. I'm going to be inviting people to stay with me during the entire stream or half a stream or maybe just a segment. I'll be interviewing some of you folks. If you're in the system and you feel comfortable talking about what you're doing, I will be reaching out to you, or you can reach out to me, peg me, say you want to be on, and I will set up a time to talk with you and discuss what you're doing. We'll share some information. We'll show some screens, that kind of stuff. And because there's a lot of truth and transparency. And to be transparent, you have to be ready to show the good and the bad and the ugly. And unfortunately, sometimes when you're seeing my cam, it's all three. But
And just remember to turn the guest's mic up.
that's right. Just remember to turn your guest, especially if his name is Paul.
Especially he's from the UK. Yeah.
That's right. All right, everybody. I appreciate hanging out with you. We'll see you next time. I'm Trader Max, and as always, trade well.